Kirk, the Limelight Club in Crewe at the Westworld weekend. How's it going so far?
It's terrible.
Terrible, as good as that.
Going very well, very, very well.
Yeah.
This is day one of the 2 days and had a lot of laughs,
Right, and you've done an acoustic set already today, yeah?
Which was, I never really wanted to be a comedy performer, but yeah, it was quite funny.
Funny in what way?
I hit this chord, the opening song hit a chord that was completely wrong. The place just fell about. And I couldn't continue because it's a really serious song.
Right.
And I was having difficulty picking up the chords without, I just laughed my head off basically. That's what happened.
Right. And the rest of the set picked up from there, yeah? It got better all along?
Maybe. Yeah, it did, yeah.
What I'd like to do is sort of go back to the 70s and go back to the park, the Pack.
The Park, you said.
No, the Pack.
We used to call it the Park.
Right.
As a joke, yeah.
The Pack, and just tell me about what kind of influences. It's been called post-punk, and you were...
Pack was kind of like a punk band, really. A bit cranky.
Right. And what were you up to before that? That was the first sort of band that was what you might call a name band for you, that was a bit known. What were you up to before
It got
then?
reviews and stuff. Before that,
Yeah.
there was a little band called The Cane for a while. I was meant to play the Vortex in London, but the punk rock club in Wardour Street. You had the Roxy and the Vortex.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Where Sham 69 got arrested.
Was it?
At the Vortex, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember. But the drummer left because he left to get married, I think, the day before. So goodbye. We didn't actually play it. But
Right. And how did that develop into Theatre of Hate?
Pack finished in like '79, and I got Theatre of Hate together with an old school friend of mine, a guy called Steve Guthrie. He's now a very successful acupuncturist running clinics in Brighton.
Right.
Does a lot of great charity work, etc.
Right.
Good man.
Yeah. And you were on SS Records at the time, the SS label?
Secret Service Records.
Yeah.
$2 signs.
$2 signs?
Yes, $2 signs.
Right, right. And a guy called Terry Razor was looking after
Yes,
you.
good old Uncle Tell, yeah.
What was your first impressions of him?
Uncle Tell? Well, he's a one-off, really. He's charming, gangster, ex-Butlin's Red Coat. He worked for the awful record label Stiff, you know, Dave Robinson, and just one gigantic rip-off. Dave Robinson and Paul Conroy. It's just all the money went missing, and you know, I think Dave Robinson's comment to me was, "If you want your money, it's in Ireland." I said, "How's that?" He said, "It's on 4 legs. I bought racehorses with it." So, yeah, fairly standard stuff.
Enough said.
Welcome to the industry.
Enough said. And then Burning Rome came after that, didn't it? Yeah. You set up that.
That was Terry's idea again, yeah.
Right. So the decision to go from something which you had a bit of control over to go to a major...
I had no control over it. Terry did.
Right.
Sorry, just to be factual, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And so when you went to a major, it was just more of the same in that case, yeah?
I was signed by Annie Roseberry at CBS, who signed U2 to Ireland. So, you know, she was hoping for another success like that.
Right. And reportedly you were sort of disappointed with Grapes of Wrath as the first album with them, is that right? Production of it, is that...
I was disappointed with the production of all of them, to be honest. I mean, you know, the company was going in the, you know, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the morning and doing their mixes and their versions of the album, unbeknown to me. And then, you know, later on it was, we went in, and it ended up as just, to be honest, quite limp.
Right.
But, you know, basically it was a rock band, but they were trying to make it into a pop band.
I see, right. Were you very much influenced by going against the thing at the time, the New Romantics and that kind of image thing? Was that something that was totally against all that you stood for? So you wrote songs about politics, you wrote songs about...
It was a very political time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The 80s was very political.
Yeah, from the start to the finish.
Had, sorry?
The miners in the early 80s was sort of one of the big issues, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you had, I suppose, what the history books would term an extremist party running the country.
Right.
I mean, Margaret Thatcher herself was anti-establishment in some strange kind of way, but you know, it was a very strange time, you know, very strange time. A lot of young people were very political, and I was one of the people that come from a background that was like that. You know, my father was in World War II.
Right.
And he had me as a lot older man, but
did you talk a lot about that with him? Because there's a lot of war stories, war images in your songs.
Well, there was for that period, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there was quite a lot, yeah. Yeah.
And the use of sort of military drum tattoos as well. Was the drum sound that you were going for right at the beginning, was that such big drums, so much space given to drums in the mix? Was that something that you saw as being sort of crucial to the sound of the band?
To be honest, it evolved. I can't say I really thought about it, what I was doing. Just did it.
Right.
You know, whatever happened, happened.
Yeah.
And you know, in retrospectively, you're right. I mean, it is, some of it's quite militaristic sounding drums, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But, you know, you had U2 doing, you know, Sunday Bloody Sunday with the same drum beats.
Right.
A lot of bands did.
Mm-hmm.
It was a political time.
Right.
79, the so-called Winter of Discontent, you know.
Did you go for
80, 82, whatever.
Did you go for Red Wedge at all?
Paul Weller asked me to do it. Paul asked me to do it, and I knew his keyboard player really well, Mick. I'd met Paul a few times. We had a chat in a cafe at Easy High Studios, and it's actually very, very funny, which I can't really repeat, but it was a very funny meeting. And he's a nice guy, and for a variety of reasons, it didn't actually come about. I was going to do it, but it's a bit long-winded. It didn't actually happen.
Right. Right.
I would have done it.
Right.
I had volunteered.
Right. Going on to the move from Epic to Virgin, what sort of prompted that?
I think Terry took me on a demo, which became part of the album, to Danny Goodwin at 10 Records. There's 10 Records and Richard Griffiths, who now runs, I'm not sure which company he runs then, in America. In fact, I think they both do or something.
Demos for Outland, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, right.
Never Take Me Alive was done on like a home computer, you know, done on a Mac.
Right.
Basically.
And that was your first sort of top 20 hit, wasn't it? Things were...
Well, in the chart sense of it, yeah.
Right.
But Westworld was a much bigger hit. But Westworld was brought out on Rough Trade Records, and it went up the charts. I can't remember, number 40 or something. And then the following week there was no records. Then we managed to get some press for the following week, and it went back up again.
Right.
And it sold hundreds of thousands.
Mm-hmm.
It sold more than Never Take Me Alive.
Right.
I mean, the actual album sold, God knows, 250,000 in Canada alone, you know.
Right.
And it sold a lot of records.
Right.
All the money was misappropriated. Standard stuff. I'm not bothered.
Right. Going back to the 70s, what kind of music were you into in the mid-70s, early 70s? What kind of stuff did you listen to?
I don't know, I used to like The Free, Led Zeppelin, The Who, and then punk rock came along and everything changed.
Right.
I remember standing in a record shop and they played, I said, have you got the Anarchy in the UK? He said, yeah. He put it on, I went, I was standing with three of my friends, I went, that's it. That's it. And it was.
Right, simple as that, yeah.
Yeah, you just knew.
The energy of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, right. And then in 87 when everything was sort of looking up for you, U2 supports and things going very,
Stadiums,
very...
yeah.
Yeah, Milton Keynes and Wembley, everything going really well. And then on the eve of Reading, you suddenly fell ill.
Yeah, it's like a reoccurring thing I've got, it's called writer's syndrome. military again, discovered in the First World War by Dr. Hans Reiter in the German trenches. And it just affects the joints. I didn't walk for 14 months. And that was a great experience. And
what did you learn from it? What did you learn from it?
God,
Songwriting wise, did it sort of inspire you in any way, or just the fact that you had so much time?
I was in pain all the time.
Right.
You know, I was having shots, taking pills, all that kind of stuff, and you know, morphine, etc. at one point.
Right.
And I just sort of, I always remember I was, you know, lying on the couch as I did every day and watching the TV, and then I just thought, I don't know why I looked up at the stairs. I have no idea. I just looked up the stairs and I just thought, I'm going to die. I'd lost about 4 stone. Things wasn't looking too good, and it was at that point I sort of, you know, started the rehabilitation bit. That was a hard grind coming back from that one.
Right.
But you know.
But you always had your sights set on the fact that you were coming back. Yeah.
I think the survival mechanism kicked in.
Yeah. Yeah. And returning to the music business as well.
Turning to the stage, yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
On your set list tonight, what you'll be playing in about an hour's time, there's like things from every part of your musical career, just from the very beginning, from the Pack, right up to 1050. You're going everything. So it's like an anthology. What I was thinking, what we could do is go through each song in the set and any memories that you might have about writing it, performing it, or something like that.
Okay.
So starting off with King of Kings.
The Pack was a very funny bunch of guys. A couple of Canadian brothers who were like religious maniacs. I mean, I didn't know that when I met them, but they were. And one of them used to chain his girlfriend to the radiator and read the Bible to her. It's just really crazy stuff. I mean, really crazy people, you know. And he always used to say to me, he goes, Kirk, do you know what the downfall of all men is? I said, what's that? He goes, women. He used to say this virtually every day, and the band wasn't together that long, and I opted out of the whole thing.
And that's what the song's about, yeah.
It's not really, but I mean, it was the actual song is me in a very childish way having a go at them two. If you read the lyrics, I mean, it's childish. I mean, it is, I think, but it's sort of fun.
Right.
The sound is good.
Yeah.
I was a young Herbert at the time, I must say.
Brave New Soldier.
Brave New Soldier. That is your what do they call it? European Rapid Reaction Force now? I'm not going to sit here and say I'm some kind of prophet, but I mean, it was, you know, that's what that was about. You know, it's also a science fiction book called Brave New Soldier. I can't remember who it was, but that was kind of what that was about.
Right. Legion.
Legion, just more ranting and raving.
Right.
Just fun, really.
Propaganda.
Propaganda is very political. The Ministry of Propaganda and Public Enlightenment, I think in 1940 it was called. And I don't know, you know, we live in times now where everything is doctored in the media, and everything is done a certain way for certain reasons by the government and the agencies of the day. I mean, this is corporate society, and it's me having a go at it, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what that was.
Right. The Wake.
The Wake was, or is, Northern Ireland.
Right.
But as anyone who has ever been there or had any involvement in it, the only thing you can say about it is, you know, it will continue, it has continued, and that's it.
You see no solution to it?
I personally have no solution to offer anybody.
Mm.
You know, it's up to the people over there to work it out themselves, you know.
Mm.
But at the time I felt very strongly about that kind of stuff, you know. But, you know, nowadays it's, well, you know, decades have passed. It doesn't make any difference, does it?
Rainmaker.
Rainmaker, that's a bit of fun. That was like, you know, Burt Lancaster in the film Rainmaker.
That's,
Yeah. A little bit of parody on myself, probably.
right. Communication ends.
Oh, wow.
10:51, Stone in the Rain.
That's one of my favourite songs. It's when I first discovered this detuning. I sort of made up a tuning, and I just got bored with doing hand figures like this, you know. I stopped all that and I just tuned the guitar differently.
To an open tuning?
Yeah, not a regular one, and then I had to learn how to play again, and it made me, you know, come up with stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Rocket Ship?
Rocket Ship is it's just as like a basic concept. I've actually used it again since. It's you know, if you buy into this UFO thing, etc. When they came here originally, they were painted in caves, and by the time this whole civilization has come and gone again, they'll be painted in caves again when they return.
So basically by 88 the Price album comes out, and
Price is on Virgin, yeah.
yeah, and it's not long after that that you see the end coming, is that right, for that band?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like a lot of fluid band members, you know. It's quite, you know, just quite fluid. There was never a really fixed lineup as such.
Right, right.
Apart from the drummer, Pete Barnacle, one of the Barnacle brothers.
Right, right.
Quite a famous musical family.
So, Spear of Destiny, when would you say that it actually ended for the first time?
Ended, well, when I
project.
got ill, really.
Right, right. So what came after that was?
I did a Theatre of Hate reunion briefly. That wasn't much. And then I sort of went to the States for 2.5 years.
Right.
And did a lot of stuff on the East Coast.
What kind of stuff?
Well, just, you know, gigging, and we did an album there in upstate New Jersey.
Theatre of Hate, yeah.
It became, well, it became Theatre of Hate again, because it was me and Stanley, the bass player, the original Theatre of Hate bass player.
Right, so the names of the bands are very much to do with personnel in them, because during the 90s you kind of did reunions of Theatre of Hate.
Yeah, we did 2, yeah.
Spear of Destiny.
Well, it was getting a bit complicated, because for a while it was called 1051, which was Terry Razor's crackpot idea, and he told everybody it was called that in the industry, and then he told us that he told them, so it all become a bit weird.
Right.
But eventually, you know, parted company with Terry, and then it seemed like the simplest thing was to call it Spear of Destiny, because, you know, everybody knew who the band was and what it was doing, you know. So.
And then when Sod's Law came out in '92, I mentioned earlier you were, if I can quote, disillusioned and near penniless Brandon threatened to quit the music business for good after Spear of Destiny's farewell gig took place in New York in June '94. Does any of that make sense?
It doesn't, I'm sorry. I mean, you know.
Fabrication.
I've no heard, what magazine is it?
It's the Rough Guide to Rock.
From?
It's an encyclopedia for them.
No,
Totally.
nothing to do with me. I've heard a lot of strange things about myself over the years.
But
that's not one of them that's true.
Right, right. So how did the 90s, towards the end of the 90s, what were you doing there? 1051 is still the band by this time, isn't it? No, you know, it went on to be Spirit of Destiny again. I mean,
I was living in the States 2.5 years, and I went to Denmark.
Right.
I married my wife, she was a Danish woman, and we went to live in Denmark. My daughter was born, and
that was the Religion album that you did there,
yeah, I wrote Religion in Copenhagen, yeah.
Right. What was the background to that, Religion?
There was a thing going around on the hoardings. It had football. It was like a football, you know. It had religion, and it just, oh, that's cool, you know. It's kind of like, well, football is a religion here, and I don't know. It's a play on certain things. Like if you know what Spear of Destiny, what the actual artifact is, and some of the history, then putting religion on top of it is quite a funny idea.
Right.
And also to a lot of our, you know, to a lot of fans of the band, it sort of makes sense, you know, as you'll see tonight.
Right, the idea behind Spear of Destiny, then how would you describe that?
What, the artifact or the band?
The artifact. The artifact.
Do you know anything about it?
I'm asking you, I don't know.
Do you know anything?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Spear of Destiny is known as the Heilig Lance, the Morris Spear, Spear of Longinus. It was a Roman centurion called Longinus, and in a moment of mercy, when Christ was on the cross, he put it through his side and gave him a quick end. And the legend is that whoever holds the spear holds the power over the world for good or evil in its hands.
Right.
You could say that's quasi-mystical rubbish. You may be right, but all the people that have owned it have done that.
Right.
So maybe it's a coincidence, I don't know. Well, not all the people, but a lot of them.
Right. But then the link from Theatre of Hate, apparently there was Spear of Destiny was mentioned in the Run Out Groove or something. Is that right? The word Spear of Destiny was in the Run Out Groove to a Theatre of Hate record. As a kind of hint of things to come.
Yeah, we just dreamed the name up in Sweden, some field we were standing in at the time, and I didn't know I personally didn't know what it meant at the time. It just sounded like a cool name. I said, yeah, well, let's go with it.
Right.
Who thought it up? I've no idea.
Right. Right.
Only later did I find out what it meant.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of it.
And that suited...
So a really incredible book by the late Trevor Ravenscroft called Spear of Destiny.
Right.
So, was a great man. Great academic. He escaped twice from Colditz. A lecture circuit, and he's a magician.
Right.
Yeah.
It's getting noisy. It's terribly noisy.
Man, I look rough. Just black it out, would you? Put some tones on. Do something with it, please. Okay, Joe.
Okay. So if we go on now, sort of continuing on the set list, Land of Shame. 1987, that was... What was the shame there? Was it the miners being treated? What was your biggest sort of political anger at that point?
It would... I suppose Land of Shame again is a political song, but I mean it's I just felt very angry at the way the country had gone, and basically it had been turned into a police state, and at the time I felt that was wrong. You know, the army were on standby to go in and do what they had to do. And it just sort of seemed an extreme kind of place.
You mentioned Margaret Thatcher's fabulous quote about there is no such thing as society. Did that sort of strike you as as part of her craziness, or?
I don't know how you define crazy.
Yeah.
How
did somebody seeing reality in a totally unreal way is how I describe it?
Well, I think in a funny way, I was talking to my brother about this, but he was sort of saying that basically the government of the day, in a lot of ways, it's like a reaction against, or a reaction with, the populist sort of sympathy of the time. And at the time, it was very, it was extreme. Yeah, basically, one person was running the country. Whatever she said went. No one objected. The army didn't object, police didn't object, people didn't object. Not enough of them. So in a way, the country got what it wanted. If it was apathetic, she continued.
What was your personal emotion towards her when you heard her on television? What was it? Massive anger? Was it total boredom that she's doing it again? What was it?
Well, you know, the TV, you know, is very much, to me, it's very much, you know, it's almost like Pavlova's dogs. You know, you see the pictures of this, you see the pictures of that, and they're designed to make you react or think in a certain way. And I did find it sort of difficult to engage with what was going on the TV at the time. You know, I could watch the football, but, you know, the moment anything else come on, no.
Margaret Thatcher especially, yeah.
Yeah, I guess. You know, just a really extreme person going an extreme way.
Right. Soldier.
I'm perhaps not politically astute enough to give you an exact breakdown on what it was she was doing, or even if she knew. You know, it's a very interesting period. You know, when she dies, you're going to read about all kinds of stuff. You know, you're going to. It's going to be very interesting from a historical point of view.
How did you feel when there was the Brighton bombing?
How did I feel?
Were you shocked? Were you sympathetic in a certain way? You know.
Well, basically, you're looking at a government that's at war, aren't you? If you're in a war, don't expect not to get killed when it's a war. Basically, Northern Ireland, and I'll take the fifth on this. Northern Ireland is Vietnam, isn't it? It's a war that can't be won. And I'm not saying I have any sympathy for any form of extremism. I haven't. If it amounts to people getting killed, well, it's wrong. It's Vietnam, basically. You sure you want all this heavy gear?
Prison Planet.
That's a jolly little tune. Prison Planet. I said I used that theme again. It's a theme of, you know.
The actual music. Talking about the music, it's very that sort of throbbing. It's almost heavy metal. I was listening to it, and it was like heavy metal and Roxy music.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
Wow. Heavy metal and Roxy music. Okay.
Virginia Plain, you know, that kind of...
oh, I see what you mean, yeah, it's a pretty basic tune. It just goes, you know.
Right. Goldmine.
That was me having like a reaction against writing all this heavy gear. What I wanted to do was just write like a rock and roll song.
Right. So Goldmine was
just a bit of fun, you know.
Yeah.
was just rock out kind of song. You know. I was in LA at the time, and I saw a lot of them bands that were banging around at the time, you know, and it was, you know, kind of rubbed off a bit.
Right, right.
Straightforward rock and roll, really.
Yeah. Young Men?
That was kind of like, that was from, again, that kind of, you know, post-Falklands thing. I was at school with some guys that went to the Falklands, you know.
Right.
And I met quite a few Falklands veterans, and they really liked that song.
They were forever changed. That's what you saw there. They were forever changed. As
basically, you know, it really is like a loss of innocence song. It's you know, young guys ain't got a lot going in their lives. It's a traditional story. You know, the young people have not a lot, the misfits in society, they end up in the army, and the career people as well. That's what that sort of song was about.
At Her Majesty's request?
I met Jerry Conlon and Penny Armstrong, two of the members of the Guildford Four, at the Town and Country Club in London, where we played, and they come up and introduce themselves. If you know the film In the Name of the Father, when the prison breakout happens, what kicks it off is a song on the radio. And in the film it's, oh yes, I am the great pretender, you know, the old one, the old favourite. But what actually, the actual situation was, it was my song, Never Take Me Alive, which kicked it off. And just a historical thing. And Jerry gave me his book, and I read the book, and I wrote this song at Majesty's request in half an hour afterwards. Just automatic writing, just come out, that was it. And I'm sort of involved with MOJA, Miscarriages of Justice organisation, and you know, if you can lend your backing, or you know, to these to that organisation, it's a good thing, I think.
Pumpkin Man was experiences with the police.
It was my old girlfriend's brother, who he's only a kid, he's 18, and he come to London. He went to the Limelight club in London, and for whatever reasons, people tried to get hold of him in there, and he ended up being taken to the police outside, and the police said, if you've got £20 you can off. He said, I haven't got £20, we'll get in the van then. So they took him in the van, they took him to, I think it's West End Central, and gave him, you know, jolly good, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And he came back, and I didn't recognise him when he came in, his big pumpkin head. And I thought it was some guy breaking in.
Right.
You know, I had a knife in my hand. Some loony breaking in, and it was actually this guy, and I didn't recognise him. He was blinded for quite a while. He couldn't see anything. He was only 18. So I felt like writing a song about it.
But nothing happened in terms of
I should
the
be in a
police.
blues band, shouldn't I, really?
Nothing happened in terms of the police being found out or anything like that.
I'm sure there's good coppers and I'm sure there's bad coppers.
The Wheel.
The Wheel is, it's quite a light song. It's just like how would you put it? The wheel of creation. You know, no big deal. It's quite a light-hearted song.
I Can See.
I Can See was written about a friend of mine who was in the band for a long time, called Stanley, bass player. And it was kind of like, we had a little band called Theatre of Hate, which went through the roof. And it went from, you know, from a couple of jars, and ended up with people doing heroin and one of them dying. And it's just, the song's about him. He's not dead. But it's
And that links to Liberator a bit, doesn't it, in a certain way?
yeah, similar.
Liberator is...
It's not about Stanley. It's just about that sort of group of people that were around at the time.
wasting themselves.
Yeah, you know, if you can't do your drugs, don't do them. Really, I think that's the message.
Right.
I mean, we all do drugs of some form. That bar over there's loaded. As my father used to say, alcohol is what alcoholics drink. It makes them happy. If you drink it, you'll be happy too. There's loads of it over there. Yeah.
And Mickey.
God, that song dogs me. It's
But you're ending the show with it tonight, yeah?
I haven't played it since, God knows, 80 something. And it started off as a simple like story about some people that I knew. And as I was writing the song, the sort of story evolved. And it's like some of these people that, there's a couple of guys that I knew. One went to the Falklands, one was in the Birmingham pub bombing, a couple of guys that went to Northern Ireland, and basically everyone in the song is dead. And not to be morbid, I kind of got fed up with singing a song every night. I didn't want to do it anymore. And I just sort of called it a day of playing the damn song. But everybody loves the song, you know, the audience love it, and tonight it's like a special occasion in that I suppose it's Mickey revisited, but with a sort of weight of time gone by.
So it literally will be the first time you're performing it in years, yeah?
Since 80, God knows. I played it every night on, you know, on the old SOD tours, and I began to feel I was wallowing it in a bit. Well, not me personally, but it just kept going on about all this stuff, and then I just thought, time to call it a day, you know, on that, and I did. Tonight's a special occasion.
I'm sure it will be. Have a great gig tonight. Kirk, Brandon, thanks very much for your time.
Thanking you.